This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC 273. Pretty great card. Can't wait to look at the pure betting side. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and share the video as well. We're going to talk locks, dogs, props, and parlays. Should be a pretty fun show. One that I was excited to do all week long. We'll first jump into the props, or excuse me, the locks section here, and start you guys out with some locks. And I will include, some props that I like for the fighters that I have as locks as well. So lock number one, it has to be Khamzat Chimaev over Gilbert Burns. That's been my guy since he burst onto the scene in, his UFC debut. I knew this guy had something special. I think he's going to show another level against Gilbert Burns. Now, of course, the betting side isn't great to look at. Minus 500's the best value you'll find as far as a money line play. Burns opposite plus 431. If maybe you're thinking, okay, I can't play a money line, but I want to throw something down on the props, what can we potentially touch here for Khamzat Chimaev? Well, the KO prop, which is definitely a viable option, is sitting upwards of plus 163, but you can also find it at Bet Online at plus 100. It's around plus 135. Other places, depending where you go. I really like Khamzat by KO. Gilbert Burns is a jiu-jitsu black belt, championship level. I think Khamzat can beat him up on the floor, but it would be a bit of a surprise if Khamzat actually subbed him. So I really like the knockout here, favoring the Khamzat Chimaev side, plus 100. Also, if you're interested in playing, something on this fight, under 2.5, minus 190 is an amazing over-under if you can find it, even upwards of minus 200. I think it's a great play for Khamzat. He's a strong favorite money line, but I think he gets it done inside the distance. You don't really want to touch inside distance unless you're really hitting it hard. I mean, it's minus 170 best value, which is okay, but it's at minus 210 on Bet Online, so don't love it as far as the value side. But I think Khamzat Chimaev wins this fight, and I do think he gets it done in the first two rounds. Fight doesn't start round 3, minus 145 if your book has that. Khamzat Chimaev, lock number one, and a damn confident one. I'm excited for my guy to smash. Next lock of the night, Petr Yan over Aljamain Sterling. I know, big favorite again, minus 445. I like Yan to win this fight. I do believe he will beat Aljo. Now, will he get rid of Aljamain Sterling? I think that is a fairly difficult thing to do. Sterling, not an easy guy to put away by any means. And I mean, in this spot, you saw the first fight and saw where it was going. Would Aljamain have survived? He looked gassed, but I still think he had something left. So I do think there's a chance Aljamain is at least ready to go long here. So let me get into the prop side of this one. I want to look here for Aljo Yan. Let's say you play over 2.5, minus 220. I don't think that's terrible. Over 3.5 is better at minus 155. I kind of think there's a chance Yan gets a finish in that 4th or 5th round, late TKO. As far as Yan by TKO, he's sitting around plus 175 best value, plus 150 range. I like Petr Yan to win. I expect him to get his belt back and a rightful victory here, stopping Aljamain. Could it go the full 5? Absolutely. Yan to win by decision. I'll just give you guys that one in case. Plus 135, plus 110. It's a line that I think is pretty viable. I have a feeling that Sterling's going to survive the full distance here, even though I'm kind of liking the later stoppage idea for Yan. I definitely feel like Sterling could be game for 5. I just see him getting beaten pretty convincingly 3, 4, and 5. His most competitive rounds will be the first 2 for sure. Petr Yan for the win, lock number 2. I mean, it's these big favorites, unfortunately, for these early ones. The next of our locks is going to be another guy at the top. It's Alexander Volkanovski. And this one I am just bringing in because I really love the pick. But as far as odds, you're not going to even play this line. I don't even like to include it in a parlay, really, because on the off chance Zombie lands something there. Just wanted to note it. It's minus 450. Best value. That's a Bovada. Bet Online has it at minus 800. So it's extremely wide, and it's an unattractive fight to play by any means. Even over 2.5, minus 255. Volkanovski, he says he wants to finish. He says he's going to be disappointed if he doesn't get it, but he's a proven decision guy, and it's not like Jung is an easy guy to put away. I see Volk doing his thing. Could Volk get a stoppage? For sure. So I do want to give you Volk by KO is at plus 240. But from what we've seen of Volkanovski's game, more likely than not, he wins a decision. Minus 118 is the best value, but it's more around minus 150. That's over at BetOnline for Volkanovski. So I like Volkanovski, very confident pick. Okay in the prop side. Maybe you try to touch an over 3.5 around minus 180. I think there's definitely a chance it goes longer here. Jung's best success would be if he catches Volk early. I think Volk is going to get a ton of success as this fight goes down. He starts reading the pattern of Jung. I expect leg kicks to pick him apart. High volume, high pace, and an Alexander Volkanovski win. Potentially knockout, but hard to say against decision for what we normally see with Volkanovski. Still, great fight, lock for sure, but the money line is just a no touch for the majority of people. Let's keep running up. As far as the next lock of the night, I love my girl Raquel Pennington. I think she's going to beat Aspen Ladd. I really did not enjoy Aspen Ladd's stand-up game that she showed in that Norma Dumont fight. I expect some changes and adjustments. I think Pennington is better in the clinch. I think Pennington's a better kickboxer. If it goes to the floor, I think Pennington is capable of fending off the attacks from Ladd, but Ladd is a pretty good ground fighter. Like, I give her respect on the mats for sure. Plus 160 dog is Ladd, but I like Pennington money line minus 170. I also do want to note the prop of Pennington to win by a decision. Plus 110. It's not great, but it is giving you a little plus money. As far as this fight going longer, over 2.5, minus 320. It's not a very attractive touch, even for the parlays, really, but it is something there. I like Pennington a lot. I think she beats I think she beats Ladd. Raquel for the win. I like the value of that minus 170, minus 200 range on her there for Raquel Pennington. Let's keep running. The next of the locks of the night, I am going to be giving it to my guy Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I think he's going to knock Marcin Tybura out. I think it's a bad stylistic matchup for Marcin. I feel like Rozenstruik's ground skills are not great. I will 100% stand by that. They're not great, but what he showed against Curtis Blades is he can get back up to his feet against guys that are really heavy on top. Tybura has better pure jiu-jitsu than Blades, but he's not heavier on top. He's not better with his takedowns. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik is actually going to find a lot of success here, and I think he's going to knock Tybura out in probably the first round. Now, looking at the line for this one, Rozenstruik money line, minus 150 is not bad. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 145. I think Rozenstruik by KO at some point is fairly likely. I think that's a good touch. Rozenstruik just to win by knockout outright. I actually don't mind that play either. About plus 105, so near even money depending where you go. And if you're like, listen, I want Rozenstruik by KO in the first round, they do have it over on BetOnline, but the value isn't amazing. It's plus 235. I do think he gets it done in that first round, though. Plus 235 seems like a reasonable tag for that one. I could see it going a bit longer, so if you don't want to just attack the plus money, maybe you just play Rozenstruik. Maybe you play him by KO as well. I like Jairzinho. I think he's going to beat Marcin Tybura. I think he stops him. I think we definitely go under 2.5, minus 145. Even if it was either side winning, I probably like the under more than anything here. Give me Jairzinho for the W. Should be a fun fight. I'm excited for these heavyweights to collide, and I like Rozenstruik as a lock. And the final of the locks are going to be Pierre Rodriguez, who debuts in the UFC here against Kay Hansen. Very athletic girl. Fun debut. Rodriguez and her are even money, essentially. You're looking at about minus 113 for Pierre. Kay Hansen about plus 105 as an underdog. I like the side of Pierre Rodriguez by a strong portion, man. I just like the striking game a lot. I think she's pretty decent on the ground as well. She's an aggressive girl that definitely comes with a tenacious style, and I think she skill set wise is going to be superior to Kay Hansen. Kay's an athletic girl, and I think that athleticism has taken her far, but as far as when it gets down to it against like a girl that really can fight like Pierre Rodriguez, I think it's a problem. I think Kay loses the decision. I like Rodriguez money line. I think we're probably going longer here, over minus 225 for over 2.5. Maybe if you're like, hey, I want to play Pierre Rodriguez to win by a decision, I don't hate that. If you can get it at plus 175, that is a treat. But plus 130 over at BetOnline. Definitely some okay plays. If you want to go the over 2.5, minus 224, I think this fight's going the full distance here. And I think Pierre Rodriguez wins a hard-fought decision. Kay Hansen's not an easy girl to fight, but Rodriguez should get it done. And I am feeling very confident in her UFC debut. Overall, those are some pretty solid locks for the card. Not great value for each one of them, but if you want just the value side, we'll jump towards the dog section. Make sure you guys smash the like button if you haven't yet. And let's talk some underdogs. Underdog number one has got to be my girl Tecia Torres. I've been a fan of Tecia for a long time. I like her style. I think stylistically, she's a hard matchup for Mackenzie Dern. Torres right now, plus 104 is the best value, but she's in the minus 110 range. It's very close money on this fight. I like Tecia Torres for the W. I expect her to get it done. I think it's a solid dog attack here. I also think win by decision is highly likely. Torres is a girl that goes distance a lot. Plus 160. Torres wins by decision. Very likely here. I think that's probably what the method of victory ends up being for Tecia. As far as her opponent, like Dern, does she have a shot by sub? I'm going to say extremely low percentage chance Dern locks up a sub, but it is plus 250 for that. If it was plus 900, maybe it's worth like a safety play on it. But I'm telling you, I think Tecia Torres, it's too hard to get a hold of. It's going to be too quick. The hands are better. I think Tecia Torres by a dominant decision. I mean, there would be moments for Dern, certainly, but I like Tecia all day here. Tecia Torres value side, though, I think we're going long. Fight goes distance, minus 150, over 2.5, minus 200. There's definitely some good money to be made on this fight here. And I am on the Tecia Torres slight money dog side. The next of the dogs of the night, I am feeling like Mark O'Madsen is a live dog versus Vink Pichel. It's a line that's flip-flopped. I think Mark O'Madsen stylistically can be a hard matchup in the in-betweens, in the clinch, against the cage. Granted, striking, I give a slight edge to Pichel, though he's very awkward. Plus 100, plus 118, best value. So it's not like Mark O'Madsen is this, huge underdog where it's like go out, bet everything on it. But I think O'Madsen does get it done. I think this fight's going longer here. I think if you're looking at over 2.5, minus 200, I would lean towards that. If Pichel were to win, I'll tell you, I could see a late stoppage of a tired O'Madsen, but I don't think that's very likely. I think we're probably going the full distance. Goes distance, minus 165. For Marco Madsen to win a decision, plus 225. So some decent notes there, decent numbers on that one. And I think it's a hard fight against Vink Pichel, 100%. I agree, but I think O'Madsen does come through as an underdog. Now, the next of the dogs, it is going to be Willie Cat Daniel Santos, which is a risky play as a dog, but I think he can beat Julio Arce. Very competitive fight. I like the stand-up game of Willie Cat a lot. Shoot the box guy. I think he's got a ton of potential. He's a razor on the feet, and I think he's going to get some success against Julio Arce, who's a sniper on the feet. Both guys, incredible kickboxing. I like the shoot the box style more from Daniel Santos, and that's why I'm picking him to win. I think he's got great pressure, and he does mix up the combos pretty well. Plus 170, Santos, Arce, minus 180. I got to go with Daniel Willie Cat Santos. I love that nickname, Willie Cat, too. Plus 170. It's a decent straight money line play. It's a debuting guy. I will personally be taking the risk attacking the debuting guy. Could definitely turn out to be a bad play. There's been some time off, about 2.5 years. I still think we're going to see Willie Cat perform here. And I think he can beat Arce, who just 4 months ago was badly knocked out. I think this is the time for Daniel Santos, man. I think he might be able to pull something off. I think over 1.5, minus 265 is pretty likely here. Under 2.5, plus 130. It's not a bad touch. I definitely think this fight could end inside distance. I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to see Willie Cat Santos get the knockout. And because of the width of the line, plus 550, not an easy feat to do against Julio Arce for sure. But at bantamweight, I don't think Arce is as durable as he was at featherweight. This fight at featherweight is a different matchup. This is at 135, guys. Keep that in mind. Plus 550, Daniel Willie Cat Santos for the win by KO. I like the line. I like the straight money line dog attack. I think he does get it done. And I'm going to go Willie Cat as an underdog, one of the ones that I'm liking here. And I'm really excited for his debut as well. I love the shoot the box guys. I love the style, and I'm excited to see it inside of the cage on Saturday. Now, the next dog of the night. This one is one where it's like I haven't seen enough. A lot of people are high on Mike Malott. I am leaning the Gall side. He's been fighting at a high level for a while. You look at the last 5 years for Mike Malott inside of the actual cage, there has been 3 minutes of fight time. That's not a lot of time for a guy now to jump into the UFC level. Yes, Mickey Gall is not 10 out of 10 top of the line, but he's got a legit win. He just beat Jordan Williams. He went distance against Alex Morono. He's fought a who's who, fought Mike Perry, fought, Diego Sanchez, which I guess the losses look kind of like bad, but Mike Malott hasn't fought those level of guys ever. We have not seen Mike Malott versus high level, and until he's shown me his level against high level, too many question marks. I'm attacking the underdog. Mickey Gall, plus 175. I think he probably is in for a fight. I think we're going a bit longer here. Over 1.5 rounds, -150, -135, around that range. I like that here. I don't think that even if Malott is as good as they're saying, I don't think he's going to smoke Mickey Gall. From what I've seen of Malott, he's a decently skilled fighter, but I don't think he far exceeds Mickey Gall. I don't think he exceeds Mickey Gall. I think Mickey Gall's the better fighter, and he's fought against more tested fighters. So I'm going Mickey Gall wins by decision. As far as Gall by decision, the line on that one is huge, +600. I'm respecting Malott's game to be able to even go long here. I think Mickey Gall's the dog attack money line. I am picking him in this fight. I think he can beat Mike Malott. Mike Malott, let's see if he proves me wrong on this one. This is a big test for him, and I'm excited no matter what happens to see Malott get some cage time because his fights have been quick. The past 3 have been lightning quick. 2017 it dates back to, took a layoff, comes back, then ends up winning on the Contender Series in like 39 seconds by submission. We haven't seen enough. And I'm going with the guy I've seen a lot out of. Mickey Gall for the win. Visible improvements. And I think he can beat Mike Malott in this spot. Good little rhyme there, too. And the final of the dogs. Listen, guys, I might be a maniac for this one. I think Iangary's a good prospect. Stylistically, it could be a hard matchup. There's a lot of question marks about Iangary. Yes, he has the hype train behind him. Darren Weeks on a full camp, I expect to be pretty difficult test. Weeks, wrestling background, power in the hands, striking background, has fought as a professional boxer. I think Darren Weeks does have some power for sure. +320, the value for Darren Weeks. He's a dog that I would just money line attack if I'm looking to play it. I think you're getting risky if you're looking to prop this one up, but I'll go into the props. Maybe we see a finish. So under 2.5 rounds is -120. I think this fight has a good chance to end inside the distance for either side. So for me, the safer play is just attacking under 2.5 rounds at -120. Now, as far as fight goes distance or not, I'm thinking it ends inside distance. That's -165. Darren Weeks, could he get the knockout of Iangary? A lot of question marks, a lot of could-haves. We haven't seen a ton out of Gary. We've seen him in Cage Warriors do good work, but it's not the UFC caliber guys. We've seen him in the UFC beat Jordan Williams, and he was touched up in that fight, and I think Darren Weeks might be better than Jordan Williams. Might be. And Jordan Williams still had success, and if Jordan Williams would have connected a bit cleaner, could have got the knockout, he rushed in and got caught by a big straight. I think Darren Weeks will have a smarter game plan than that. I don't think he's going to go as crazy. Let's say you go Darren Weeks to the win money line. That's the money play. But +650 is Weeks by KO. I am going to note that it's a little bit of a stretch. Could happen. Maybe this fight ends up going the full distance and Darren Weeks surprises us all getting a split decision or something like that. That'd be +750 if it happens. Interesting fight. I am thinking that it's probably somebody getting finished. And I do think there's a chance Iangary gets stopped here. I'm liking the dog, Darren Weeks. Nothing about this fight will surprise me on either side. Too many question marks really around both guys. Give me the underdog here. Give me Darren Weeks. I like what I've seen so far, as I do with Gary. But I think the hype is a little bit too much for a guy that had a, not a rocky debut, but a hard debut. And I want to see more from him before I'm like, yes, I'm on the Iangary train. Let's ride him to the top. Darren Weeks upset as a dog. I think he's a good money line dog attack. Those are the dogs of the night that I'm liking here. I just want to talk a couple of final notes, I guess, about the money line style picks. Like Oleinik Vanderaa is such a weird fight that I don't want to touch the money line there. We'll get into some more of the matchups I didn't talk about when we jump towards the prop section, which we're going to do now. Let's talk some props. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Now, as far as the pure prop side of things, there are some touches that I personally am going to be playing that I think have some likelihood of success, but maybe aren't like, hey, go out and bet everything on it. Korean Zombie to win by KO. I feel like it's worth a stab. I personally played it. It's not like I'm throwing anything heavy at it. It's a light touch. But Zombie to win by KO, the value of that is +900. You can even find it upwards of +1,000. Not a terrible little touch. Just in case, something went wrong with Volkanovski if you do have him parlayed up. Personally, I'm not parlaying up because I hate seeing the -800 tag. There's really nothing I can do with it. If you're on Bovada, -450, maybe you're still touching that line in your parlays. Now, as far as some of the other touches here, I think that Anthony Hernandez-Joshua Froome fight, I like the Hernandez side to win, -190 for him over at BetOnline. Now, as far as Froome, he's a +165 dog. If I'm looking to play that fight, I do think it ends inside the distance. Crazy enough, -400 fight ends inside distance. That's interesting. I'm feeling like Anthony Hernandez by club and sub. Hernandez inside distance win -125. I'm not touching that one. Hernandez to win by submission +185. Not great value. Hernandez by KO is +300. I like the most out of this fight. Hernandez wins by sub +185. I do expect him to hurt and then submit Joshua Froome in this matchup. But I am excited to see what Froome can do. And then the matchup we kind of quickly, jumped on for a second was Oleinik and Vanderaa in the last section. I want to talk a little more deeply about this fight. I think it's a tale of two fights. Is it Vanderaa by knockout or is it Oleinik by submission? Aleksej Oleinik by submission. What is the value? +160. Vanderaa by KO, +160. The line is literally even for either side because I think that's both of their most likely methods to victory. Do you really want to touch this fight? Maybe not. Maybe you attack one of the props, or maybe you're crazy enough and you try to attack both of the props to try to get a little something back. Not a fantastic method to make money here. And I think Vanderaa could get the knockout, but I really could also see an Oleinik sub. It's a true toss-up fight. The official pick was Vanderaa by KO, but it's one that I'm not really telling anybody to bet. It's a pick'ems fight. It's a weird matchup. There's definitely a chance Oleinik gets it to the floor and locks up the sub. And you know what? If it goes past the first round, maybe you're live betting on the Oleinik side. Maybe this is one for a good live betting opportunity. Overall, though, I think there's some solid spots with the props on this card, especially with the over-unders. The prop section is interesting, right? Because we talk deep with the props as I go through each one, and then I just kind of give an extended prop rundown in this pure section here. And then, like I think I already mentioned it, but Lad Pennington going longer here, I think goes distance is a fair play. I think Torres Dern over 2.5 rounds. I think that's a good play. Definitely money to be made, and I'm excited to prop a few things up, but don't go nuts with the props. Personally, I get excited about our next section, the parlays. So let's talk parlays, the final section. Make sure you guys smash the hell out of that like button if you guys haven't yet. And let's talk purely the parlays. So, okay, parlay number one for me that I was jumping at the bit for is going to be Jan. It's going to be Khamzat Chimaev. If we can find them here. When I do the parlays, I have to jump towards... Oh my God, are you kidding me? Is this what we get from this is what we get. This is what we get from best fight odds. They don't have Khamzat Chimaev on the line versus Burns. No, they do. They have him as the fantasy odds way down. Don't ask me about best fight odds. Excuse me. Best fight odds is just off their game with how they're keeping track of all the lines. Like every week there's a fight off, and I'm not trying to rail on the guys. Like they used to do really good work, but it's kind of been a shit show ever since they kind of transitioned their books. But whatever. Enough of that rant. Let's talk the parlays. So Jan Khamzat Chimaev, right? And then you're gonna add something to it that you want. Now, depending on where your book is, maybe you can't play the over, maybe you can. I'm playing over 2.5. I got +115 value for Mackenzie Dern, Tisha Torres over 2.5. Piotr Jan Khamzat Chimaev. I love this line. I think this is a high likelihood of success line. Now, you want to add a little more juice to the sales, but you want to do it with more so confident picks. Maybe you add Kel Pennington, wife of Tisha Torres. Maybe there's some luck around that parlay. +235 if you lock up Raquel as well. Now, if you're not crazy about the Raquel line, personally, I like it, but some people won't be. Rosenstruik, straight money line, +254 to attack that one, which is not a bad touch either. If you want to add in, though, Raquel Pennington, we can get it +235. I think that's decent. You're like, listen, give me Rosenstruik as well, +450. If you're like, listen, I need a dog to attack on the line, maybe you put Willie Cat in there on one of your more Hail Mary plays, especially because he's starting the night off. If shit hits the fan early, you go and you cover it up and you make another Hail Mary. So don't go nuts with these Hail Mary plays. +1,300 if you add in Willie Cat Santos, which I don't think is a bad touch at all. Man, I said it with a real thick accent. I don't think it's a bad touch at all, fellas. But I really don't think it's a bad idea to touch that one. And then if you want to get a little nuts, and personally, I did go a little nuts adding this one into a Hail Mary parlay. It's going to be over 2.5 on this Pichel Madsen fight. It brings you to +2,000. Now, of course, some of you won't be on Willie Cat, so let me just tell you what it is. If you take Willie Cat off of the line, you're like, listen, keep that guy off me. I don't know anything about him. +730 if you don't like him. Personally, I like Willie Cat, but I definitely can understand people not wanting to touch it. +730, I think that's a pretty viable play. Jan Chimaev over 2.5 rounds. Raquel Pennington, Jairzinho Rosenstruik. It's like a reasonable Hail Mary that I really think has a pretty high likelihood of coming through. Personally, I'm like a huge fan of that play. I think you'll be playing with fire a bit, trying to add in Volkanovski at the money you see him at. If you're trying to play, more of the real confident picks, you put in Pierre Rodriguez, you can get some success there, plus 1450. I think that's a great touch. As far as dogs, I think the ones I like the most would be like a Tisha Torres, even a Willie Cat. I think Mickey Gall could be live, but I don't know if I want to attack it with too much money because there is a lot of reasonable hype around Mike Malott. Being a team alpha male coach, the guy definitely has a skill set, and we're going to find out a lot. And I'm excited for it. Now, if you want to go absolutely nuts and you're like, listen, I just want to top it off, I don't care if it's even the pick, you add in Korean Zombie at the top just for fun. You chance it all, plus 9,200 if you had Jan Chimaev over 2.5, Torres, Pennington, Rosenstruik over 2.5, Madsen, Pierre Rodriguez, Chan Sung Jung, you're looking at plus 9,024. That's a Hail Mary, lottery ticket style. Overall, be safe with the parlays. That first one I gave off, Torres and Darren over 2.5, Jan and Khamzat Chimaev, personally, as my favorite one of the week. I'm a huge fan of that one. There's really not great money you can get at this point with Volkanovski, where I personally just don't really see the value in playing Volkanovski at this point. If you went Volkanovski, Jan, and Chimaev, it's minus 155. I wouldn't hate you for doing it, but I think at that point, you add in that over on Tisha Torres, which I am personally banking on, plus 149. I think it's a hard girl to finish, and I think not a ton of power on the Torres side. I think that might be the perfect play, playing it at decent money for that over with that Darren Torres fight. Overall, though, guys, I think there's some fun bets to be made for this card. It's going to be a great full card of action, man. I'll be live on the channel for the entire thing, so make sure you guys tune into that. Smash the like button here if you have not already. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn those post notifications on, and share the video as well. Let me know in the comments what some of your guys' bets are, and let me know what you think of the ones that I am liking here. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Got big things coming. Stay tuned on the channel. Subscribe, post notifications turned on, like the hell out of the video, share it too, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, my people.